Tara Lamb with 5 Acres Honey Farm. I am heading over to my hives because I noticed yesterday that one of my hives, which I thought just didn't make it through the cold weather we had, still has a queen with about maybe 15 or 20 bees left. And that is definitely not enough of a population to keep her going through the next few weeks of cold weather that we have. I'm going to make an attempt to combine some bees from another colony that has a very generous population with them to hopefully get her in a better position where she can stay warm until she can start laying again and get her worker bee population up. I think this is a really good example of why it's really important to take a look in your hives, even though it's generally best practice not to open hives in the winter because you don't want to break the propolis seals and you want them to be as insulated as possible. But this is an opportunity to keep that colony going, and we'll find out in the coming weeks if this was successful or not. But I mean, if I did not check on them, then this colony would not make it. All other signs point to the colony being fine without opening the colony. And that's where the lesson is learned. All of the hives are very heavy and they have enough food stores. They have the sugar bricks that I made. I see a ton of activity in all of the hives, bees coming and going on warm days like today. It's 55 degrees in January in North Carolina, and you would not think that there would be anything wrong. So the reason I noticed there was something wrong was that I peeked in all of the hives yesterday. We had another gorgeous day, and when I peeked in, I noticed there weren't many bees on the sugar brick on top, which is usually what you need to see this time of year. Is they're all clustered getting food on warm days, and I looked down between the frames and I didn't see any bees of any significance, and I decided to just take it apart. And so as I took it apart, I just checked the few bees that were on there, and that's where I noticed that the tiny little group of about a dozen or so bees was still hanging out and caring for the queen in there. Gonna head over there and see if we can get her some more workers. All right, this is the colony that has just a few bees left. Show you, there's a tiny cluster in there, and yesterday I saw that the queen was still in there, which I was really surprised. And to kind of give them a chance, I'm now taking from a much larger colony that has a great population. I took off the box that was above the cluster, which had a lot of population in here, and that box down here has about two and a half or so frames of nectar and honey, and not like full coverage of bees, but it'll give them some more warmth in there too. And then I'm just leaving the sugar still in here, and I left the more generous frames of nectar in there with them since they have such a big population, so they need a little bit more. So now I'm gonna get them combined. All right, I got this hive combined for now. Well, hopefully this will help, but we'll see. What I had a little trouble doing was keeping the newspaper on. So if you're ever combining a colony, you would take a queenless colony, which I made sure that this is the box from the other hive. I made sure that the queen wasn't in there. I put a piece of newspaper down on top of their new hive, and I had scored it with a knife before I brought it out here, so it just has like a little bit where they could start working on it. And ideally the two colonies would be on either side, and they would chew through, and the pheromones would be able to disperse so that the new bees will accept the queen. At this point, because there's such a low population in this base colony, they won't really make it through the winter because we have a lot of cold weather coming up next week. And yesterday was 55, today's 55, tomorrow's 55. They'll have a lot more activity today and tomorrow where they can work on making their way through the newspaper, and this could give them an opportunity to have a high enough population where they can stay warm enough to get through to the warmer temperatures that'll be around next month. and hopefully then the queen will start laying again. So I had trouble getting the newspaper on because it's a little breezy, and so each time I put the newspaper down, it would blow off. I just kept working on it, and I got the box on. And the other thing that I'm gonna do, and I'll show you down here, is like their entrance. Let's see, you can see this better. There's just such a big gap here, and you can kind of see there's a little dead one here. So I want to make sure that there's, at least it's closed in as much as possible. This just might be an old warped entrance reducer, but I'm gonna try and get it in here as much as it can fit. Yeah, that's better. And so this will help reduce any drafts and let them, you know, maintain the temperature as much as they can in this cold weather. See, so after getting this situated here at the front, you are combining colonies. Make sure if you have an inner cover that you keep it closed. So I have this completely pressed forward so that the newbies up here won't escape. And you know, once they are combined, then I'll just move it back so they'll have the right ventilation for this time of year. I just closed up the colony that I took the bees from, which this is a really gentle colony. I mean, pretty much most of my hives are, but this one in particular is just super calm and nice. So hopefully they'll help the other one out. Worst case scenario, if the other colony doesn't pull through, I can just grab the frames that I put over there that had the nectar and give them back to this original colony that produced all that nectar. In the next month or two, I'll be splitting pretty much most of these colonies anyway, so I won't really know the difference at that point. Colony that's having all the trouble had the highest varroa mite count this past year. I was expecting them to have some struggles going through the winter, so we'll see if that continues to be a problem for them. The hive that got the extra bees is the one on the left, and I'll give an update soon.